Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So just here for another play around with altering our least favourite or least usable pages from our 12 by 12 paper packs. So if you joined me when we had a play around before, we got as far as obviously covering over the pages with the gesso, and obviously we did make a few pieces and we did alter the papers significantly. And these were the other parts that obviously I hadn't got round to yet. So nothing, you know, no brain science or anything here. But I mean, I guess the other way to alter them is to cover them up completely with napkin. So I've just brought along obviously a couple of the papers here. So we've got this one, which if you recall, we altered it to make it this one last time. And in fact, let me just reach behind me and get the pieces that we did make, if I can see them quickly. I don't want to be here obviously taking up your time all day, but we made that piece obviously. So if you didn't manage to join me and you thought it, you know, might be interesting, that's what we created with this. And then we obviously had the bright pink, which we converted into this green. So I'm just popping those out of the way now. I've brought along some napkin. Isn't this so pretty? It's just such a lovely pattern. And what I thought we could do is obviously just decoupage this over the top of the gessoed surface. So what I'm going to do here, and obviously I have done decoupage before using the acetate method. Now here on my desk I've got some acetate which I have used previously. Unfortunately I don't have very large pieces, so what I'm going to do here, if I can actually get my Mod Podge open, right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply the Mod Podge to the paper surface itself and then spread it out obviously with the paintbrush like that. So just give it a really good covering. Now I did say this before, I use Mod Podge that I've watered down. I don't have any formula or anything. I just, you know, get it to a consistency that I think looks good. It's more watery obviously than conventional Mod Podge. And then take your napkin and press it lightly over your Mod Podge, oops, like that. And then again with my acetate I just then press it down. I mean, that saves me coming into contact with that napkin and risking tearing it. So that's another way to use the acetate method for popping your napkin on and just really press it down. I mean, because I'm quite a, you know, clumsy kind of person, if I was to do this just with my fingers or, you know, something like that, I would invariably tear this napkin. So this for me is a good way to do it. And then anywhere like here where it's not seeming to just stick, you can obviously just go over that just with your brush then. Okay, so that's that one. Move that out of the way. I'll leave that to dry now for a moment. Just put some dry paper there. And then this one here, I have got, in fact, let's do this one here, because this, as you can see, had this big pattern, which we're going to just endeavour to cover up with the napkin. Actually, I'm just looking, I don't think that is going to cover it up quite. So, and this is such a beautiful napkin, isn't it? I don't want to waste it on something that it might not actually work on. So what we'll do is we'll do it onto this, because this is just that striped, so I'm pretty sure, you know, it's going to look quite nice on there. So exactly the same. I'm just going to do this end because it's slightly wider, I think, and obviously I want to get as much of the napkin as I can as possible, because it's really nice, isn't it? So again, I'm just going to paste over the piece of paper. Oops. And then I'm just going to take my napkin, try and get it, you know, as close to the bottom as I can, and then just take my acetate, just get one of my dry wipes from the side there, and the only reason I'm using a dry wipe really is because obviously I've just used this acetate on the previous piece, but I've just turned it over now, so it's obviously quite gluey. And just work your way along like that. Okay, and then exactly the same here. Obviously I've got quite a sort of bubbly bit, so I'm just going to now paste that down with a bit of extra Mod Podge there, and there was another kind of bubbly type area. Oops, get that corner down. Okay, and again, just you can press it down then with your acetate. Oops, I have now torn the middle of that flower, so I should have not done that. Right, so here's one that I did actually, and unfortunately I did end up tearing the napkin. I am not obviously very delicate and gentle, so that kind of thing happens, I'm afraid, to me. So what I've done is I've got obviously some more napkin here. I'll just separate the layers. Oops. I know there is this fantastic method with the sellotape, and I really should get in the habit of doing that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to trim this down, and I'm only doing that because I don't want to end up Mod Podging this napkin over this one, which, to be honest, I am very likely to do. So there we go. I mean, this is gorgeous napkin, isn't it? So they're all gorgeous, to be honest. I mean, what is it with napkins? They just do them in the most beautiful patterns, don't they? So just put plenty of Mod Podge down. Okay, and then again just spread it out. Oops, a big lump there from where, you know, when it goes kind of dry in the bottle and then it creates lumps. So there we go. Let's call the napkin there with the brush. Okay, then just take your napkin. I'm just going to pop it on there because I like that corner best of all. So pop that down, and then again I'm just going to use the acetate. I mean, you know, you don't have to use the acetate if you are quite confident that you're not going to tear the napkin. Of course you can use just your fingers or cloth or something. I'm not very gentle, so for me definitely the acetate's very helpful. You know, avoiding contact with the napkin is very helpful for me, so that's why I really like using the acetate. Okay, so that's our other piece of paper. Let me just peel that off of here, because the next thing is going to actually be stuck onto the A4 sheet below. Oh, it already is. Oh, this is turning into a how not to craft, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Right, so let's just peel that up like that. So the title of this video, it might just be how not to craft. Oh gosh, come on. Right, okay. So we now have our paper. So let me get rid of this one because it's obviously very messy now. And I'm going to put that to one side to dry. Right, I'm back again now from my napkins drying. So if we just have a look and see what we've got. This was obviously that stripy paper, the bright pink with the orange and the yellows. This also was the same paper, so very, very, very different effects. And obviously, I mean, I haven't got any here with me to show you the original sheet. I'm not even sure whether I've got any more of it left. But this was the other piece that we did. So, I mean, we really have transformed that sheet of paper. So just because when you look through your paper pads, you think, oh, that's not really suitable, that's not really vintage, you can still use them. Don't just kind of discard them, because they can be obviously altered and used. So that's those. And then this was that bright pink with the pale blue flowers, which obviously you can see this section still here, but this section completely covered. You'd never believe that was that. And again, obviously that was when we did it in the last video, and obviously that was it distressed. So again, really transformed from its original state. So, you know, don't be kind of discouraged if you don't really like some of the papers in your paper pads. So I thought now what we could do is just kind of work with these and you know, possibly make a couple of tags or something like that. So I've bought along, got these mushroom pages. This is just from a little book of mushrooms that I happened to pick up recently. And what I thought was, I mean, weirdly, I think they look quite cute on here. Don't ask me why, I felt quite drawn to them on there. And might do another little mushroom here. So I'm just going to see what other mushrooms I've got. Those two are really nice. That one is really nice, but it's quite large. So let's try those two that are sort of a pair and just see how they look. I mean, they might look okay, they might not, but it's just trial and error. And obviously, if you don't know, or if you don't try, you know, you'll never know whether they might have looked really nice. So we'll just cut them round. Sorry about the overuse of the word so. I know I have talked about this before, but obviously it started with the word literally that I was saying constantly. I'm aware I also say the word obviously a lot. Right, I'm just going to check whether I want them that way round or that way. Yeah, I'm going to go for them this way round. Yes, and it just appears that obviously, there we go again, obviously, another one. The more I try not to say it, the more I end up saying it. And to be honest, I just am replacing one overuse with another word that I'm overusing then. So there we go again. So I'm afraid it looks like it's just going to have to be here to stay. Now what I've got is I've got my craft knife. Now mine's a really rubbish craft knife and I haven't used it for ages, so it's questionable whether it's even going to work. But all I want to do is cut in here just enough to be able to poke my mushroom through, because I want it to appear that it's just poking up out amongst the flowers. Maybe that one we might have maybe in front, or I wonder if we could have it tucked in behind that leaf. So again, excuse my really cheap and cheerful knife here. Just cut around there, and then we just tuck this in there like that. I mean, I just think that just makes them look really cute because they're just poking out from the flowers, aren't they? So now that they're kind of in place, I'm going to just cut this down to roughly the size that I would like it, like that. And then get my mushrooms positioned how I want them. Now I'm just wondering, should I have put that there? No, I like it behind the other one, I think. So, oh, come on. Can't poke that back through now. Oh. Isn't that cute? And then what I've got here is just some of my background page from my Halloween kit, because I've recently been working with that, so just happened to be on the desk, you know, beside me, which I'm going to back this onto. So what I'm going to do first is glue the mushroom, that little stalk, down like that, and then just go all the way round, oops, with the glue. I mean, I just like my tags quite stiff, and obviously different people like different things, don't they? So if you're happy with yours not so stiff, just back it onto paper. This is like 160 GSM card, so it's not really thick, but it's obviously quite a bit thicker than copy paper. I'm going to pop that down there like that. I have to be careful when I'm doing this, because obviously my toadstools are not really attached yet to the tag. They're just attached on that back flap. Okay. And then we can obviously glue them down now. So that's the first one. I love having things poking out from the tags and things. I just, or you know, from the flowers and things. I think they look really cute. I don't do it that often, because obviously not everything lends itself to that effect, and you know, I just forget and things. But when I saw all those flowers, and they're in such a cluster and a bunch, I just thought, oh, perfect for having those toadstools just poking out amongst the flowers. Isn't that so gorgeous? It looks so cute, doesn't it? So I'm just going to cut that tag down now. Like that. Okay, and then we'll just trim it in on this edge as well. And just trim it down the bottom as well. I just need to come in here a bit, because I made a horrible job of that edge. Not very straight at all. I'm going to chop into my toadstool. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's better. Right. Doesn't that look so cute? I mean, I just love that just as it is. I don't even feel like it particularly needs anything else. It just looks really, really cute just how it is. I quite like it bright, because I quite like bright things. I will probably distress it, because I know that, you know, most people probably prefer it toned down a bit. So I'll just distress it, but not too much. So just go around there like that. Okay. Very sweet, isn't it? And then I'm just going to see in my coin album, which I think I have shown you guys, but just for those people who might not have seen it, this was an old coin album of my dad's, and he offered it to me and just said, oh, you know, do you want this? Really just because he was, you know, wanting to get it out of his house. And at the time I thought, what am I going to use that for? But obviously I took it because I thought, well, yes, you know, I'm sure it will come in handy for storing something. And I've had it just under my desk for the longest time. And then just suddenly occurred to me, because it's got all these little slots, that I could just store tiny little bits as I cut them out. So it's actually turned out fantastic. And I have even to the point where I've even been looking for another one to try and get, well, another one or two, you know, maybe more, because it's so brilliant. I just really love it. So, right, shut that up again. Just see what butterflies are pulled out. Because I was obviously covering up the tag, it was kind of hard to remember what colours the tag really was. You see, what I would like to do ideally is cover up this butterfly, because I don't overly like that. And strangely, I love this blue against there. It looks a bit like a sort of fairy tale, I feel. Really, really nice. So I wonder if I could just cover that writing up at all. So let me just see what I've got. Not writing, sorry. The what is it? The butterfly. See if I can cover up that butterfly to be able to put on a different one. Oh, the things we do. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that down. Obviously I haven't gone quite to the edge on the mushrooms, so that's quite nice, isn't it? So I'm going to glue that down before I can chop and change my mind anymore. And again, I can just tuck that under that mushroom, because obviously I've glued it down, but I wasn't right up to the edges. So there was just like a millimetre that I was able to then tuck that under. Just trim the back piece like that. And then we can just pop that butterfly on, maybe even, oops, maybe even that way. That way or that way. There we go. Oh, how cute is that? I really like it. It looks really sweet. I have got this flower which was just laying around on my desk, which I thought, oh, it just picks up the blue perfectly of the butterfly. I'm not going to staple that on, I think, because I might be having a mad moment. I'd love it if you guys could let me know below what you think, whether you think this flower could be stapled on as like a tab. Like probably fold it like that. Or maybe not quite like that, but I don't know, does that look like sort of feathers from like a Red Indian kind of headdress? I'm not sure. Well, probably like that. It would be stapled on like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you think that that would be a good thing to do or not. To be honest, by the time this video goes up, I probably will have lost that flower in amongst all the mess on my desk. So I'll never be able to actually find it if people actually say, oh yes, put that down. It'll be long gone on my desk. Could finish it off like that. That's also really nice, isn't it? Oh, I'm just going to do that. Because obviously this is here. That flower's probably not going to be locatable by the time that this video goes up. So I'll just go for the pink place. And I'm going to trim it down from the back. Like that. Trim it down here. Oops, come on. And just a little bit there. Okay. Oh, that's so cute. It just looks really nice. So, excuse me. So good use of that unusable 12 by 12 paper. Now I've got the other one here and we will try and do something similar-ish with this one. So I'm going to put these butterflies away because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go for these colours, although I might go for that one. If, you know, if we want a butterfly, we might decide we want something else or nothing else. But I'll just pop those back in my folder. I'm trying to be really tidy. What a joke, trying to be tidy. Well, that's not, obviously that's not quite true, but I'm trying to get on top of my mess. Now I'm going to cut these like that, so that I can get that white out. I didn't really overly like that showing, so by just cutting in like the natural place, which when I glue that back down, you won't notice that I've cut that. And then just looks better, I think anyway. So we could again pop this behind these flowers. So again, if I just cut down sort of round this flower, like that, and then round that leaf a little bit. See whether I've cut enough. Oh, don't they look cute? Oh, I just really like them poking out like that. And again, I'm just going to cut that down like that. So what I will do is, again, turn that over, glue these little flappy kind of stems down, and then it's obviously, you know, the toadstools are then attached to the tag. And then I'm going to bring in the paper again. So again, this is just that plain paper from the background from my Halloween kit. Okay. I am trying to include, you know, providing I remember, I'm trying to include going forward a sort of plainish sheet in all of my kits, so that if you wanted to back tags or anything like that, you've then got a completely plain sheet, you know, for exactly this type of purpose. You can just back them onto it then, because I just thought that was something that I would like to have and would find useful, so I thought perhaps other people would too. I obviously only stumbled across that idea, I think the first time I did it was maybe my secret garden kit, but going forward I am trying to make an effort, you know, to remember to do that, because I think that's something that's really handy. There you go. Just saves you then coffee dyeing, really, if you can just back them onto something plain and neutral. Oh, that's really yummy as well, isn't it? Oh, really cute. I'm liking it. Okay, let's see what else we're going to put on that. We could have them backed with that ticket, which I think is really nice. Let me just take it out. I quite like that because that makes them stand out quite a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, I think I'm going to pop them on there. So this is just a ticket from my Flights of Fancy kit. So again, I mean, I'm just using leftovers that I've got laying around, and I've got this laying around from the Flights of Fancy journal that I did. And obviously the Halloween was from the Halloween folio. So there we go. Right, now I can stick my toadstools down. I don't know what it is about toadstools that makes them just so cute. They're gorgeous, aren't they? Really, really cute. Okay, just dab that off. This is just the back of the napkin, you know, where you peel the layers apart. So it's good to use that. Okay, and then obviously you could have a little butterfly or something just there. Like that. And then up to you, really. I mean, I quite like it like that. Obviously, you know, you could do this as a tag shape. I mean, weirdly, I don't that often do tag shapes for my tags. I quite like them just rectangular, really. I don't know why that is. But often I cut the corners and then I think, oh, I preferred it just as the rectangle. So I don't know whether that's just me. But that's cute, isn't it? Looks sweet. And what we could do, let's actually do it properly like a tag. Punch a hole in. You know, I mean, I call this a tag. I don't know whether other people necessarily would call it a tag, as it's not conventionally tag shaped. But certainly I would use it as a tag. Well, you wouldn't have to. You could use it as a like a tuck spot on a page or a pocket like that. But completely obviously up to you. Just fill that in. Go around the edges. I might not overly distress this one because I quite like this in these bright colours, so just lightly. The other one, you see the stalks of the toadstools were very bright white, which I wasn't so keen on. On this one they were already darker, so I didn't really mind them. Now I'm just having a look in my little bag of lace and things beside me, and I've got this pretty satin ribbon. So I'm just going to thread that through. Oops. And then I'm going to just do it in a bow, I think. Oh, this is again another thing not really to do on video, because I'm making a muck up of this. Okay, and then obviously sort the bow out, you know, because they take a few times of fiddling, I always find, to get them looking like a good bow shape, because when you first do them often they've obviously got massive legs, you know, or stalks or whatever sticking out. So just good to just fiddle around until you get it as you want it. I'm going to just have it like that, I think, and then pull that one down slightly more. And that one. Oh, come on. Okay, and then what you can do, I mean, it's not perfect, but to save you having to watch me for endless amounts of time while I get it just as I'd like it, I'm just going to dab my glue off in the paper in the bin. I'm just going to pop some glue like into the knot type area, because hopefully that's going to save it from coming undone at all. Oops. Oh gosh, come on. Like that. And then you can just do it under here as well and hold it in place. I mean, that's just me because I'm quite clumsy, so I'm likely to, you know, untie the bow by mistake. Okay, obviously chop those ends off, and then under here you can just then, oops, come on, glue, like that. Oh, how cute is that? It looks really sweet, doesn't it? So let me check the time and check that I'm in frame and how we're actually doing. So hold on 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm fiddling around with all my gubbins that's all to the side of me, making sure that it's all back in the bag. So that's those two tags. And then the final one that we did, so I mean, obviously I have got the remainder of these left, but I won't bore you doing, you know, the same paper again. We've got this one obviously that we've done with this paper, so again we could just make a tag or something with this. So I'm going to cut this down here like that, and I'm just going to move these out of the way so you're not sat looking at them constantly, as if my desk isn't messy enough. You don't want more distractions, do you? Now, don't know what to go for this one, whether we want to go for another mushroom or do we want to go for something completely different. Just having a look through my little folio. Hang on. lady. Do you know what? I think we might just go for those toadstools again, because I'm quite liking those at the moment. So I'm going to cut this down here. Obviously, I've kind of cut through the bird, but never mind. He's just about there on the edge of the page, isn't he? Now this one's quite a monstrous toadstool, so I'm just going to again have a look and see what other ones I've got to choose from. This one's quite pale in colour. They're green, which, you know, once they're cut out, they might not actually resemble mushrooms anymore. I find that happens sometimes, you know, when something's slightly irregular shape, once you've actually cut it out, it doesn't even resemble what it was supposed to be in the first place. So I just fear that that might happen with that. I think it might happen with this baby one down here as well. But we'll try this one and see how this one goes. Okay. I'm just cutting the leaves off completely, you know, because otherwise I don't really know where to stop. So we've got those. What I might do is get rid of that baby one, like that. So we'd then just have that one. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't have two different types. Let's try that. I don't know what this is going to look like, because this is like, again, I mean, actually it looks more like a flower now I'm cutting it out. It's got like a flower type shape. I mean, probably lots of people out there know exactly what mushrooms these are. I haven't the foggiest, I'm afraid, so just showing my ignorance here. But I mean, they're quite nice, aren't they? Because that yellow is a nice contrast. Just going to try one more, so I might cut this one out like that. And unfortunately, this one also is quite monstrous, so I'm just cutting it in a bit to see if I can make it slightly smaller. It doesn't need to be so big as that, does it? I'm going to actually throw that piece of paper in the bin now, because I don't think there's anything else on there that I could possibly use. Okay. Let's move that one out of the way. I'm just wondering, I do like the yellow one. I think that's really pretty, and it will go really nicely with the daffodil there. So I'm just wondering whether I could poke this in, like behind the daffodil. Excuse that noise. That's a really noisy, like, motorbike or something just gone past. So I always just seem to pick when I'm doing a video to go past the noisiest vehicles. Oh, come on. I mean, obviously, I'm really trying to cover up here where I've cut around that. Let's just, don't know how they look together, or whether this one. See, this is a very strange shaped toadstool, isn't it? So what if we had that one, and then just looking to see whether I've got any sort of labels or something like that. Maybe the mushrooms aren't going to work for this particular tag. What do you think? Sometimes you can just try and then I just can't manage to get things to work. Right, I've got this flower here. Again, I mean, I'm literally just reaching for anything that happens to be in view on my desk, in the hopes that possibly I can actually get it to look good. It's funny because these blue napkins, I mean, I absolutely love them, don't you? And, oh, yeah, just could look at them all day long. But really weirdly, I have struggled every time I've used them a little bit, and I don't know why. Right, oddly enough, I quite like that. Yeah, I have no idea why I like that, but Just something about that looks quite pleasing to me. So I'm going to, I think, go for that. I'm going to, again, just pop this little stalk down. I mean, that's really just to hold the mushroom in place. And then I'm going to glue it on again to this background paper. I wonder if I can get it here. I might be able to actually, because that tag does need cutting down quite a bit. So waste not, want not, you see. I'll just try and use up every single little piece of that paper. But yeah, definitely I find these little background pages quite handy because, I mean, you could argue that obviously you're printing them out, you know, and so it's kind of excessive, but is it more excessive, or is the time saver worth it because you're not having to coffee dye your paper? I don't know. I mean, for me, I think it's handy not having to coffee dye just to back my tags, or, you know, use my coffee dyed stash just to back my tags. But obviously, you know, different people might think different ways about that. Okay, so we'll cut the tag down. Again, I'm not sure I'm able to cut straight lines today. No idea why. I'll just cut in here because that napkin wasn't right up to the edge of the paper on that part. Let me just cut this across here like that. Okay, so that looks quite nice, but much improved by the red flower. I think that yellow daffodil for me was just ruining the look of that, and the red flower just makes that look much more bright and cheerful. No idea why. I don't know why that would be, but the yellow just sort of looked a bit dulled down shade, and yeah, I don't know, it just didn't look quite so good, whereas the red flower, that just looks lovely because it just picks up all the red here. It just looks really pretty, doesn't it? Well, I think it does, so hopefully some of you guys think so too. So pop that on there like that. Okay, just dab that off like that, and then obviously, just to be in keeping with the others, really, I'm just going to see if we've got a butterfly that would just look good on this one. So I'm just going to grab some from that little pocket rather than bring the whole coin folder back in. I mean, that's quite nice, isn't it? I know it's quite monstrous on there, but I quite like it, so that's a maybe. That's quite pretty as like a toning down type option. Oh, that's quite fun to have on the toadstool. Nope, too much red. Or we could have a tiny one. Weirdly, I mean, I thought the tiny ones would look a lot better, but actually I'm leaning towards the larger ones. I mean, that's kind of the same as this one, but slightly smaller. And do you know what? The strange thing is, I actually prefer the bigger one now. Even though when I first placed it there, I thought, that's very big. But now, I actually think that looks better. Right, I'm just going to tuck these back into that pocket. I know that's a bit boring, waiting for that, but I am trying my best to be less messy around my craft area. So I must be disciplined and put things back, because once that camera goes off, I'll just be on to something else and I won't bother putting them back. Right, what do we like best? Do we like that one there, that one there, that one there? Personally, I'm not so keen on that one. I actually quite like it with both. I know that's a little bit OTT, but I do like it with both. So I'm going to just, just going to go for both, I think. There we go. It's okay to just sometimes have completely OTT things, isn't it? So that's really cute, isn't it? Now, in my little bag of goodies, got this red trim. So I'm just wondering, do we make this tag shaped and have a conventional thing? Well, I'll do that. So again, I just trim those corners in, and let's just take that corner to the other corner to use as my template. I'm going to just punch my hole. Out there. I always like to just glue my hole reinforcers in. I mean, I don't think you have to. They probably would stay on, but I don't think it hurts to just glue them into place as well. Because you want them glued down, don't you? You don't want them coming up like that. And then this weird crinkly stuff, I got this from a wedding favour, oh, years ago, years and years ago. I mean, actually, sadly, the couple who got married, they've actually split up since. But yeah, I kind of collected everyone's favours from our table, and that's how long I've had it. So that looks cute, doesn't it? I'm just wondering whether I've got any blue eyelash trim. I've only got blue, I think, that goes into another colour. Hold on. Yeah, this blue kind of goes into purple, and then the other blue that I've got goes into green. That's quite good, actually. Is it a bit dull? I'm not sure. Sorry, I've got to just wind this one up because it's all coming unthreaded now. Oops, now gathered it with another one. Oh, again. Oh, the mess for everyone to see. Right, so what I might do, and I've said this before, but this is not my idea. This is something Artie Mays, I've seen her do on her tags. It just looks really awesome. So just going to tie a bit of eyelash trim round. Come on. Around there like that. And then tie it the other way to keep it really well done up. Come on. That's it. And then I can just cut those down. 1, 2. Right, let me just now hang this back up on the hooks. Got the eyelash trim stuck on my fingers now. Okay, so that's our tags finished. So hopefully you've got some ideas there for using up your, you know, what we would deem as previously unusable, or, you know, disliked, or your least favourite anyway, of your 12 by 12 paper packs. You know, I don't want to keep dragging the pieces of paper in, obviously, but we really have transformed those pieces of paper, and they don't resemble anything like what they resembled originally. So I hope that you like all the bits that we've made in this little kind of couple of videos, and give it a go. You know, just use up some of your pages that previously you've perhaps discarded or, you know, not liked so much. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks then. Bye.